Welcome back to Get Down to Business, a show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. So speaking of entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneur is certainly not a job. It's a lifestyle around one's business. And that is why I am thrilled, truly thrilled to be joined by seasoned entrepreneur Bob Schlegel, who has spent more than 4 decades of experience in teaching and educating aspiring business leaders on what factors to consider before they make a sale or seal their first deal. And Bob, I know you have written a fantastic book, Angels and Entrepreneurs, a lifestyle formula of starting your own business and riding the roller coaster of entrepreneurship. And that's exactly what it is. Bob Schlegel, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Shalom. It's great to be with you.
Oh, thrilled to have you. What you talk about, Angels and Entrepreneurs, and I love that title, is something that we talk about every single week, truly, on this program. So, Bob, I love having you, but I love to get to know the person behind the microphone. I know you and your wonderful wife and business partner, Myrna. I know that you are passionate entrepreneurs, but I love to know the story behind the people, behind the microphone. How did you become so passionate about this topic?
Sure. Well, I grew up on a farm in southern Ontario, Canada, outside of Toronto, and went on to grow up in the farm life. The first generation to go to high school and college, that sort of thing. But after grade 10, I wanted to leave. I wanted to quit school and become a car mechanic, an apprenticeship program. And my mother wouldn't hear it, but of course I still remember her. I could still hear her saying, "You know, you're not quitting school, little brat." So I finished school, got a university, and got a CPA. And during that time going to school, one of my profs was saying the greatest way to become successful, in America, North America, is to become a Fortune 500 CEO. Work towards that. Get the CEO. They make a lot of money, have a lot of prestige, and that sort of thing. I said, well, that's great, except there's only 500 of them, right? So I thought, there's 350 million people in America. My chance of becoming a national hockey player, football, NFL, or CFL, or baseball player is better than becoming a Fortune CEO. So I always wanted to go start my own company and do my own thing. My dad was a bit of a small-time entrepreneur, so I just wanted to control my own destiny a little bit better.
Absolutely, that is fantastic. So what is sort of that biggest lesson, the number one lesson that you've learned in all of your years in business that you would want to share to the entrepreneurs tuning in?
I think the 3 most important things in the book, if I could get to the shortcut, are the ones get all the education you can, get the best education you can, and all you can. And part of that is the experience of Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 Hours, the Outlier book. I'm a great believer in that. So with education and experience, and then set big goals, and then never give up. I think those 3 things are, if you get that out of the book, I think that my mission has been accomplished. Education, big goals, and never give up.
Okay, absolutely. So you've talked about education, and you talked about your own sort of experience of being a less than stellar student. How did you achieve all this success without success in the classroom?
I just kept doing things over again. I took a lot of summer schools are in there as far as education goes. So it just the whole thing is never giving up. Set your goal. I wanted to become a CPA because during my life in the farm was the visitor to the farm every once a year would be the CPA coming to do my dad's annual taxes. I said, "What is it you do?" I used to check cow and chicken, on my boots, and so just seeing the CPA come and see what he does inspired me to get that. So that was my goal, to get the CPA, and then after that you have to set big goals about your own company, your own business, and keep working at it. Try it, fix it, try and fix it, try and fix it.
Oh, wow. Absolutely. No, that great advice. Again, I'm chatting with Bob Schlegel, the author of Angels and Entrepreneurs, Lifestyle Formula for Starting Your Own Business and Riding the Roller Coaster of Entrepreneurship. And there's a lot of words in that. You use that term lifestyle, you use that term roller coaster. Do you mind sort of defining each of those 2 terms and why you believe that those 2 terms are both associated with entrepreneurship?
Sure. Well, I think entrepreneurship, the lifestyle basically is your whole family's involved, all your partners. I have a little acronym that I use. It's called PEP, P-E-P. P, the first P stands for persistence. I think the most important attribute you can have is persistence, and how that relates to what your success in life, period, being at school or business or being a salesman. So without persistence, you just can't get anywhere. You don't have to be smarter than your competition. You just have to be more persistent. And then the education we talked about. So the PEP is the persistence, education, entrepreneurship, where you control your own destiny, and just the excitement of running your own company and keeping score and monitoring your KPIs, key performance indicators, that sort of thing. And then number 4 is the other P is passion. If you're passionate about what you do, you never work another day in your life. So I think you got to be passionate about it and love what you're doing. And the last P is partnerships. That's where the angels come in. You have partners. Your angels are your partners. Your wife, your family, your business partners, your customers, your suppliers. They're all your partners, and can be all your angels. And combine that with the power of positive thinking. I think that'll get you there.
Absolutely. I love that. The PEP philosophy coming in the fantastic read, Angels and Entrepreneurs, the Lifestyle Formula for Starting Your Own Business and Riding the Roller Coaster for Entrepreneurship. Bob, you've done a lot of things, again, from some humble roots, maybe not the best in the classroom, but certainly you're passionate about education. I know that you have been quite successful in business. And when we come back after the break, we're going to chat a little bit more about sort of what you talk about a lot in the book about buying or building businesses and how to collaborate and how to look at competitors and so on. We're gonna connect on that in just a moment. But if people want to buy your book, where can they find it?
Amazon, of course, is the biggest source. Barnes & Noble. It's available in print, audio, and ebook as well. And the biggest compliment I ever get on the book, Shalom, is after I finished somebody's reading it, about half a dozen people have called me and said, as soon as I finished reading your book, I went out and ordered one for each of my kids and each of my grandkids. So I think to me that's
fantastic. A quick break here on Get Down to Business. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Shalom.
Chatting with Bob Schlegel from Angels and Entrepreneurs, the Lifestyle Formula for Starting Your Own Business and Riding the Roller Coaster for Entrepreneurship. You can buy the book on Amazon. And of course, visit Bob's website, bobschlegelauthor.com. We'll spell that in just a moment. But Bob, you've done a lot of things, started a bunch of companies, you've launched companies, you've sold companies, you've done quite a bit. We've been chatting a little bit about the PEP philosophy and why it's so important for success. But again, going into that sort of topic of buying versus building your own business, what do you enjoy doing more? Because if I understand correctly, you've probably done a little bit of both.
Exactly. I think it's more fun, obviously, to start something from scratch, and then you build it, and everything's based on what your own personal thoughts are and goals are. But it takes a long time. It took me my first big company, Pavestone Company. It took me 14 years to get it to $10 million in sales, which is a pretty long time. And then to be really big to start making any serious money was the $10 million in sales level. And then it took me another 5 years to get to $100 million. And after that, things started to grow. So after that, it grew $100 million every 3 years for another 9 years. So we had by the time we had about $400 million in sales in year 28. That's a lot of work and blood, sweat, and tears, and following those goals and being persistent to get it there. So building it is the hard part. Is starting one from scratch rather the hard part, and it takes a long time to build it. If you can buy one, you have employees and customers and everything right there. So it's much easier.
Absolutely. So if you were talking to a young Bob Schlegel starting out in their career, a young entrepreneur that might be tuning in on Get Down to Business, on the podcast or the radio show, would you do anything different? Would you start or buy your own first business?
I would usually, if you don't have any money or capital, you got to start your own, or get a customer to help finance you, or a supplier or a vendor. But buying it is obviously the best way if you can find the right source. And the best way is to get I like Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours of experience, and get that behind you. Maybe work for someone in an industry you can learn the industry, learn the customer base, learn the quality, learn how to make customers happy. And then maybe buy an option, but maybe buy from somebody that's retiring, or somebody you're working, or your boss wants to spin off a division, or he wants to retire, or he wants to do something else. The best way is to take over something that's growing, and save yourself the first 10 or 15 or 20 years, startup, better, and that sort of thing.
We've been chatting about some of those terms, lifestyle and roller coaster. But when you're doing lifestyle, like you said, you've got partners along the way. When you're on a roller coaster, there's usually somebody sitting next to you on that roller coaster ride. So how important are those personal relationships, your professional relationships, your partner, business partner relationships? And you also talk a little bit in the book about having relationships with your competitors. Can you talk about all that within a minute or less?
Sure. I think you have to know your competitor. I'm not sure you're friends with your competitors, but your competitors don't have to be your enemies. So you can meet them at trade shows and that sort of thing, and just keep in contact so you know who they are, you know what they look like, you know some of their personality. Because sometimes they're going to want to sell their company, or you're going to sell yours, and they're the perfect buyer for your company, or if you want to buy them. So it's just good to stay in tune. Plus stay in tune to the industry. You know, is the industry growing or slowing down? Is the industry consolidating? You know, or is it time to sell your shop? If you're worried, I don't like to sell a business until there's some strategic reason that it's, you know, going in the ditch somewhere, or not doing well, or the progress is slowing down.
That's good advice right there. Again, I'm chatting with Bob Schlegel. You've got a great book. Can you tell us what it's called again, and again, how we can get in touch with you and purchase a copy?
Sure. It's called Angels and Entrepreneurs. It's on Amazon, or it's on at bobschlegelauthor.com. It's Schlegel is Schlegel, 2 E's, and that's the best way. Happy to. I also have a website, bobschlegelauthor.com. Instagram is Bob Schlegel Author. It's all pretty straightforward.
Absolutely. Well, Bob, you shared a lot of great advice with our listeners, because entrepreneurship truly is a roller coaster, and it truly is a lifestyle. I look forward to following your story, bringing you back on the show. But that's a wrap for us here on Get Down to Business. We'll be back next Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on AM 560 The Answer, or on your favorite podcast app. To success, let's get down to business. Get on my website, shalomklein.com. We'll talk to you next week. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Shalom.